Hi everyone, Tracy here from Seed Flinger, where we fling seeds of truth, peace, love, joy, empowerment, and enlightenment. And today's topic is called the journey. Everybody's on a journey and everyone is in different places on that journey. The journey is about potential, about wanting to become that which we desire. Now the Buddhists will say, have no desires, but even the desire to have no desire is a desire, is it not? We can deny our desires and pretend that we don't have them, so we bury them. But once the seed's been planted, like an example, if you were on a body image journey and you see somebody who inspires you, they have a nice body, and you are inspired by their body to become the best you that you can, the seed has already been planted. If you are a Buddhist, you would be on the road of liberation from suffering. And in order to know why you suffer, you would have to be aware of what you're holding in mind that creates suffering. If you're a Christian, you would be on the road to find Christ, to be Christ-like, to find God. And if you're a Muslim and you're on a journey to also discover God, you will do certain rituals. In all religions and practices are certain rituals. And we believe if we do these rituals that we will be able to attain the goal. And the goal really is to know thyself, to know who you are. We are always giving ourselves definitions. And ultimately, people will come across certain teachers. And one of the things that happens along the journey, and it happens for most people, is you will come across a teaching or a teacher or a minister, and you will stay loyal to that. So anything that takes you off your path, you will not feel free to venture off. If you're a Christian, you will study only the Bible, and even to meditate will feel like you are being disloyal. If you believe that going to church is your loyalty, then to not go to church will bring up guilt. Even to have a desire to be a business owner after being an employee is an inspiration to move from being an employee to being the employer. And that also will inspire you to bring your potential. We do live in a world of economy where money is used to survive, to pay our bills and our electricity bills and the mortgage and food and everything else. And so we have evolved to that place where money is very important. So if you aspire to have more money because you want to be generous and share it with your family and help your kids go to college, have a bigger house, you will have to confront all of these beliefs about yourself of why you can't, because we cannot meet our potential and simultaneously hold beliefs about ourselves. It really is a journey of the self. And along our journey, we believe that if we have things, we are somebody. And most people will experience some level of that. So to not have means you're a nobody, at least to yourself. And then it will move into who you are, like who you are in the world, your prestige, how other people see you. And then it moves to how you see yourself. Your own being will become a dominant vibration or a potential that you want to manifest. And that brings me to this law of attraction. If you've ever seen The Secret, I think it came out in 2006, 2007, and it was a very inspirational movie about what you hold in mind, you tend to manifest. And people will not believe that they create their own reality at first, although it sounds good that you can just hold something in mind, and if you stay focused on that it'll manifest. But there are so many other parts to the puzzle, because you cannot manifest something when you're putting out a vibration of you are not that. And we're just not aware that we're putting out that vibration. Let's say you want to attract more money and your intentions are really good. You want to attract more money because you are supporting other people or you want to be generous, but you are putting out a vibration of, I don't have that, or I don't know how to go about that. So here's the desire. And the desire, before you realized it, it already came. It was already a desire planted. And the intention was good. And up comes the frustration of, I have held it in mind, or I have thought about what it is that I want to accomplish, and it still hasn't come. And then we feel this horrible disappointment. And then we fall off the train of the law of attraction and resign altogether to say it doesn't work. And we look around and we see that other people have and do certain things, and we can become really grateful for what we do have, and we can go that route. But there'll always be this nagging question of, how is it that you can manifest? How is it that we create our own reality? Because if we believed that we could create our own reality, we would be sitting home creating it. We would not have to coerce, manipulate, get other people on our side, on our team, to actually help us create reality. And that's what happens when we want things to come from the outside, when we haven't realized who we are. So this journey is really about discovering who you really are. I say that everybody is my teacher. We are teachers and students simultaneously. And I have had so many wonderful people in my life, or at least I had access to them by books and videos and whatnot. And there were certain groups that were formed that basically said, if you want to be part of this group, you can only speak about this particular teaching. You can't bring anything else into it. And it was just another organization with rules and regulations, and it didn't give people freedom of expression. And the same thing with Jesus. If you don't believe that he existed 2,000 years ago, you can't call yourself a Christian. And so we have to rebel against these beliefs. We can't just continue to not experience, to be what it is that we're searching for. And let me give you an example. If you wanted to, let's say, win $1 million because you feel all this joy. Have you ever had the lottery game where you're sitting in a hot tub and everybody that's in the hot tub is telling you what they would do if they won $1 million or $2 million or the Powerball, and everybody's laughing and getting excited, and no money has manifested, and yet the joy of that is being experienced. But if you did win the $1 million, you would believe that it was a fluke, that it was, you just got lucky, you picked the right numbers. It would never change your state of being, of who you think you are. So the difference between winning the lottery and being wealthy is totally different. So to be wealthy attracts money and it attracts other things of abundance like joy and peace. So when we embody that with our potential, we will know that we actually did it. And you won't know that you did it unless you're pretty far along on the journey of finding out that you do create your reality. And how do you do that? That we live in the world, even if we excluded talking about God, let's say, source, because we all have our own definitions of that. We all have imagination. And you know that everything that has been created has begun in the imagination, in the mental realm. Even this cup right here started off as an idea. And so you think, oh yeah, that's just wishful thinking, but is it? Because everything that's manifested till we can really see it, taste it, touch it, smell it, in what we call real reality, or reality, whatever we believe to be real, that is real. And ultimately, what is real is inverted. To be able to manifest something, you have to be that. So you have to see yourself that way. And the imagination, we all have the imagination, which is the playground. If you think about imagination, it is all possibilities exist. And you can go into your mind and see an image and tell a story without resistance. So you can go there. That place is the realm of infinite possibilities. That is the realm of God. And then we look to the world of form and we say, it's not here. And then we feel that disappointment. So our allegiance, our being lukewarm, being, hot and cold, is that we get all excited when we think about how we can become and manifest things. Is very exciting. I mean, you just have to be around, the round table of people that are creating a business and they're passing their ideas, and the belief that you can accomplish it is amazing. That is like the journey. It's not so much about the destination, but to think from the end, even though we're continuing to make the journey, is what makes it so exciting. I remember one time in July or August, me and my kids and my sister were sitting around the table and we were talking about Christmas, because we have this theme that we do. And we were so excited. We were so on fire about talking about this event, because we love Christmas time in our family. And I thought, wow, it's in the middle of summer and we are feeling the spirit within our being of Christmas. And I never forgot that, because it planted in me a seed of knowing that I can create a feeling within my being right now. A circumstance doesn't have to come to pass, and we all have that ability. We tend to lose faith once we plant seeds, because we will turn our attention and our focus in the real world. And the real world is nothing but things that have already been created. This has already been created. And it never dawns on us that we were created in the image of God, so we have that same creative power. You can't get out of it. We are creating our crap, and we are creating the things that we want to enjoy, and we're doing it all the time. And unless you know that, or you discover it along the journey, you won't really believe that you're creating your own reality. When I don't like someone and I think of them, I will automatically feel in my body a distaste or a disgust for them. And they're not even in my vicinity. And the more that I, let's say, hate them or feel disgust or contempt for them, the more they would show it to me. And the more that I would see it, until I'm absolutely convinced that it's true. And it started in the mental realm, in the realm of imagination. And so we don't really create what we want, we create what we believe is true. So when you change your definition of yourself, instead of attracting wealth or a better lifestyle, you become that, you embody that, and you do that in your imagination and you use your senses. Let's say you want to manifest, let's just make it easy, because we all need dwellings or enjoy dwellings. We do love camping in tents, but let's say you want a bigger house, and you search out an image and you put it on your phone, and you see the house, you see the backyard. And in your imagination, before you go to sleep, you bring in all of your senses and your feeling state, and you rub your hands along the countertop. You go to the faucet and you let the water run, and you can hear it running. It's just like when you open a pickle jar and you haven't even smelled it yet, but all of a sudden your glands will start to believe they're smelling pickles, or lemons or that kind of stuff. So we all know that we have this capacity. It was given to us, and we are source energy, and that's what source creates. And we have been creating all along, whether you believe it or not. This is something to find out. I know I've gotten many life reviews where I would create something negative, and then I would be aware that I was holding this in mind, and then I would get a life review where I would see, oh my gosh, this went all the way back to childhood. So I bought this certain belief and continued to create it up until I became aware of it. Okay, back to your house. So you are running the faucet, you have a pool, and you see yourself swimming in the pool, you feel it, you are smiling and laughing, and you see all your friends gathered in your pool, and you're splashing each other, and then you get out of the pool and you dry yourself off, and so you've brought in all of your senses of what it would really feel like. Okay, so you do this, let's say right before you go to sleep. Then you wake up and you're in your other house, the smaller one, the one that isn't big enough, that doesn't have enough rooms. And then you continue to wake up in your house and nothing changes. And so we give our allegiance to what we believe is real, and then we lose faith in the imagination, which is the realm of God, because all possibilities exist there. It's the only place where we can actually go to create. And if you think about this, in the same imagination in our room, we're having arguments with other people that aren't there. That also is in our imagination. And then we imagine, I'm not going to get the job, or I'm going to lose my job. And we bring all of these fears and worries, which is in the imagination. And then we feel immediately, just like we did when we thought that it was Christmas and felt the spirit, we feel the fear of that. So we are manifesting our own emotions. And when we focus on what is, I say make peace with what is, because it takes a while for the potter to work the clay until the potter enjoys it. And here's a real important part of this piece that really helped me. And it's called recreation. And if there's anything that you created in your life that you didn't like, you can go back to the potter's wheel and you can take that clay and you can remold it. And these are all experiences that you had with other people, arguments, things that you didn't want to go a certain way, and you're reliving it in your head over and over and over. And you create it the way in which you wanted it to go, because just because it's already been created, it doesn't mean we can't recreate it. So create the scene of seeing them tell you how awesome you are and how much they didn't appreciate you, and you are exchanging this, you are making closure, you are making your relationship better in your imagination. It's just like the saying of, if you don't want to feel a resentment, put somebody's name on a postie and put it in the mirror and pray for them. Wish for them, honoring the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And see them as wealthy, see them as thriving, see them as joyful, see them as happy, because you would want that for yourself. I know it takes a while, and there's going to be times when, especially if there's a lot of resistance and a lot of hate, that you're going to do the Lizzie Borden. Lizzie Borden had an axe, gave her mother 40 whacks, and you put them on your potter's wheel, and then instead of enhancing the relationship, you're stabbing them and chopping them up with your axe. And then you're like, okay, it's not a good time to create. And then, this too shall pass. And then when you are in a mood where you're feeling peaceful, you're feeling relaxed, then bring in that relationship and create it as you would have wanted it to go. Now, you can poo-poo this all you want. And, I just disbelieved people right off the bat. But really, you want to prove to yourself that it doesn't work, or you want to prove to yourself that it does. And so there's only one way to do it. We can read all kinds of stuff, and reading and hearing or whatever, and we are still not going to know until we have that experience, until we put it into practice. And so this is something that you can do in your own, I call it the secret garden. Go into your secret garden and mold your life. Feel the feelings, bring in as many senses, and embody that. And, and all the way until you know who you are. When you know who you really are, you will not be a limited being anymore. You will have embodied the Christ consciousness, and you will no longer speak about truth in the way and the life. You will be the truth, the way, and the life. Because, and this is really cool, this is what I've discovered. The amazing thing, it brought tears to my eyes and I cried like a baby, is that God so loved the world that God embodied humans, became humans, and planted that seed inside each one of us so that we could realize that we are actually source. And in order to do that, we had to experience it from the inside. We couldn't have a God that was outside ourselves, or that was in a future place, that we had to be good enough according to whatever we believed was good and bad. So we were eating from the tree of good and evil. all along. We were creating our reality and we were denying our own power. And then there comes a time when you eat only from the tree of life. And it was such an act of love that God came. In other words, there's only source. That's what I see. There's only source. So that means everybody that I see is actually source, but they don't all see that they are. So source, because source is omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent. So there is nothing that is not source. So even your desires are given to you from source. And so source embodied humans so that we could be saved from our suffering and then realize that we are actually source. That we, if I believe in Jesus outside myself and that he lived 2,000 years ago, and I'm not saying that Jesus did or didn't live, I'm saying that his teachings, in order to embody that, you can't go to the Father, which is source, except through the Son, which is me. So I could never say, I am that. And when I first was on this journey and hearing about, our conceptions or our concepts, our perceptions of what we believe God is, we would always come short and say, I am not that, I am not that. And so we were creating this separation and we never felt this connection. So that is what I discovered. And this is so amazing. Oh my God, this is so amazing. What an act of love that God would leave the throne and embody humans to make sure that we will finish this journey of knowing what we are. And so there's nothing other than source. What a beautiful thing. And I just cried. I cried and I wept with this love, that God gave up the throne of all that is to embody humans so that God could experience itself through us in limitation mostly and in suffering, even though an aspect of us never left that place. And so the I am that we speak through is the same I am in the Old Testament as in the New Testament. I am that I am. And until my I am knows that which I am, I'm still going to create. If I say I am poor, or I am a jerk, or I am stupid, or I can't understand that, I will still create that, because source is source and can never not be source. And so we are creating all along. And upon our journey, we will find many people that will be in our path. And sometimes I have sat through hours and hours of lectures of boring stuff. People are talking about themselves, blah, 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 right? For that one gem. And then all of a sudden I got that gem. And so whatever is before you is your gift. Sometimes a 6-hour lecture is just one gem. And sometimes you resonate with it. You can feel the spirit moving inside of you. And so this is really intense and really good information that I want to share with you. And so I'm probably going to do 2 or 3 videos on this called The Journey. But for now, I think I've flung enough seeds and given you some gems to think about. Do we create our own reality, and how exciting it would be if we did create our own reality? And I know that we create our own reality because I'm aware that we do. And so my own suffering was my own creation. And as I moved through this journey, and I continue on this journey, it never ends. Obviously, I still have life in this avatar. I also know that people will get angry and they'll get turned off, and I was like that as well. And so everything is good. And sometimes I couldn't even stand to listen to someone for a couple seconds. But if you're this far along, you are still hearing me because it's still playing. There is something here for you. And there are so many people. It's like the universe is so loving that if we pay attention, we will get exactly what we need along this journey to our full potential of being who we really are, which is source. I mean, there is no greater being than that, even if you were a CEO, or an owner of a galaxy. We're talking source energy. This is to be that I am is the greatest discovery. And when you know you're that, you can create a wonderful life full of love, joy, and peace in the things as well. And it removes the fear of believing that you're not and creating that you're not, that separation, that connection. We want to feel that connection. And the only way to know that you are that is to be that. You can know about something, but you can never know the full potential of that unless you are that. So for now, you are loved, and I wish peace to you.